Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. Yes, I know I'm playing catch up, but it's about time I did so. So this time, I'm talking about Destiny of the Doctors number 9. This is the Eccleston month, or as it was known then, the Eccleston month. Now, there's something, frankly, a tiny touch disappointing about this story. Last year, Captain Jack, that's John Barrowman, was cornered on TV, and he let slip that he would definitely be involved in a project to do with the 50th. Now, next day he denied it, saying it was definitely something. We now know the only two things he's been involved with connected with Doctor Who were a small hello slot on the much ill-fated after-show party, and of course a very small cameo, yet hilarious, Five Doctors-ish reboot, which if you've not seen, go and find. However, what I thought was that John Barrowman would be recording this, and I still think he was originally out there in order to do it. He was almost contracted to do this particular thing. It was the logical solution, because let's face it, Billy Piper's Rose does span 2 Doctors, or as we now know, 4, although Smith's Doctor couldn't see it. So this is Destiny of the Doctor number 9, featuring the 10th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. See how confusing this is going to get for everyone? Oh, yeah. Oh, and if anyone goes around saying, oh no, he's the 9th Doctor, he's not. Not anymore. He thought he was. But Capaldi's going to be number 13, because now, thanks to the redemption he got in this story, he is now, fully fledged, a Doctor. How many Doctors have turned up to save the day? All 13 of them. Yes, all 13. That includes the John Hurt 9th Doctor. So Destiny of the Doctors, number 9, featuring Dr. 10, Eccles 10, isn't read by Captain Jack Harkness, although he features prominently in this story. It's not Rose, although she would be the logical solution. No, it's Nick, one day I hope to work for him, Briggs. Now Nick Briggs is a talented performer, very talented writer, but I felt kind of cheated because I didn't get a TV companion reading this story. Does that make sense? Maybe I built it up in my head. And let's face it, we are just buying a story here. But here I was going to get Nick Briggs doing an impression of Captain Jack, an impression of Rose, and an impression of the Doctor. And Nick Briggs, well, for me, he's always down as a villain, the baddie, the bad guy. I know that on certain forums I said he should be auditioning for the role of the Doctor, and perhaps he did. But that's my initial reaction. Oh, it's Nick Briggs reading it. Not, oh, Nick Briggs is reading this, and that's a bit sad on my behalf. Because the guy does a sterling piece of work. It's very, very well done. It's well performed. The other characters, the other actors are very good as well. It's just that once you're past that level of disappointment, another one comes around to have a go at you. Because around the time this one was released, The Judgment of Jack's Law also came out, and it's got a surprisingly similar story. An ill-fated justice robot ends up taking control. It's also got parallels with Batman and superhero stories. This one primarily set in a city that's got the feel of a 2000 AD megacity, as opposed to 19th century London. But the parallels and the proximity of the release made me just think of the same stories and compare them, which again is not fair. Because on its own, it's a perfectly serviceable and good story. A little bit rushed towards the end, but with one disc to work with, what do you expect? And of course, comparing it to the other story is very unfair because that was one of my all-time favourite releases of 2013. But we can live with that, and we can live with the absence of Barrowman. I'm not sure that John Barrowman's Christopher Eccleston impression would be something any of us would really want to hear. But it is sad that we never got to hear it and judge for ourselves. So all in all, a decent tale well told. But perhaps it's one for the completists. So I'll go now, and I'll let you judge for yourself by listening to the trailer for Destiny of the Doctors number 9, featuring Doctor number 10, Christopher Eccleston, Night of the Whisperer. Be seeing you.
Someone strode through the smoke, a tall figure sweeping through the chaos, wide-brimmed fedora, obsidian black cloak billowing out behind. One of Wolfsbane's men rushed forward, gun up. The cloaked stranger lifted a leather-gloved hand. Kobold's blue energy sparked from the newcomer's fingers, hitting the heavy in the chest, knocking him back. The guard was dead before his body thumped down beside Rose. He hadn't just been shot, he'd been desiccated. His withered corpse smoked, all sallow cheeks and wrinkled skin. A shadow fell over Rose. Stomach knotting tighter, she looked up, straight into a featureless mask.
"Justice will be served,"
the stranger hissed. There was nowhere to run. Looming over Rose, the masked man raised his arm. Death-dealing fingers pointed at her. Screwing up her eyes, Rose waited for the blast.
"Justice for all."
Miss Tyler, this is...
Inspector George Dixon, the newcomer announced. New, Scotland Yard.
From Earth.
Oblivious to the Commissioner's glare, Inspector Dixon plonked himself on a chair opposite Rose. "I'm helping the locals investigate this whisper bloke. Saw him, didn't you?" Rose leaned in. "Yeah, at the club." Dixon mirrored her. "Fantastic. What was it like?"
I was asking Miss Tyler about her life before New Vegas. We don't have any records.
"Course, silly me." The inspector clicked his fingers and snatched up McNeil's datapad. His fingers ran across the touchscreen for just a few seconds. "Found her. Full rundown of Miss Tyler's movements for the last 5 years. He passed the pad to McNeil. "Must have been a glitch. Happens, doesn't it? Files get deleted. Emails lost."
But she has a link to the Whisperer.
"She does?" asked the inspector. "He attempted to attack her, nothing more."
We don't know that.
"I do. Checked her records twice." The inspector leant forward, hitting a button on the pad. "As you can see, Miss Tyler had a problem on Gratchik Major. Need to talk to her about that." McNeil's shoulders sagged. "In private? Earth business."
We'll need a full statement.
"Leave it to me, Chief." McNeil turned and stalked out of the interview room. Rose went to speak, but the inspector shook his head. He slipped his hand into his jacket pocket. "That's better. Don't want any eavesdroppers." The doctor grinned widely. "Hello, Rose Tyler." Doctor Who, Night of the Whisper, performed by Nicholas Briggs with John Schwab as McNeil.
It's the 50th anniversary. Last year, you promised yourself you'd get a copy of Whostrology. You know, for yourself, for that bookcase. You dropped hints to your loved ones. You wrote letters to Santa. You even promised yourself you'd buy yourself a copy to celebrate finishing off all that annoying Christmas shopping. But it never arrived. So this year, why not give in and buy one of the funniest books you'll ever read? Annoy your family by chortling away at jokes that only you and a handful of other Doctor Who fans will get. Whostrology, it's the future. Stop hanging around waiting for the ebook to come out. There won't be an ebook. There won't be an app. Buy it today while stocks last. Click on the link on the Tin Dog Podcast homepage or visit any branch of Amazon. You know you want to. You've been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its connected properties are copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. Whostrology, a Time Traveller's Almanac, is available through Telos Publishing or Amazon. Visit www.whostrology.com for further information. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.